Sanchez, and welcome to the next episode of the Better Your Life podcast. And this is to show you that we all have issues going on and we need to find a way to improve, and I'm here to give you that advice and that information. Today I'd like to have a conversation about name frequency and what that would suggest for the person that you are encountering. Now, I had a friend of mine who gave me a really wonderful example that I'd like to get into on this episode, and I'd like to speak about how the relationship with this particular individual was and how the name can contribute to this, because it really does mean something and it really indicates a lot. Now, this person's that we're talking about, I just want you to consider something for a moment, because the last name is only one syllable, but only one powerful syllable, and it is the name. This person's name is her name is Mort. Now, I'd like you to think about that last syllable, that last name, Mort. Now, when you hear that, what do you think of? Do you think about an Italian cured ham called mortadella, or do you associate it with Voldemort? Hence, the last syllable of Voldemort is Mort. And there's a whole story with this person. There really is. And considering the qualities that Voldemort displayed in the story that we all know very well as Harry Potter, we can gather that there might be something interesting about anyone or a certain person who has the last name, which is the last syllable of Voldemort. Now, if we consider numerology and numerologically, we do have an element of compassion going on with the O in the name, and we considering that the O is 6 and 6 is family relationships. But that also can suggest to us the name when we hear it and when we say it. It sounds very serious and like this kind of person when we say the name is somebody, if I should say it, tough, and somebody who is kind of powerful and somebody who could be reckoned with. I mean, the whole thing about Horton or Hector, like when I say those names, what is in frequency that comes to mind to you when you hear those names? You know, is it going to be a big truck that says keep away, and shouts it? Or is it going to be, now let's, actually get real, that let us not stereotype people by their last names and say, oh, this is who they are. You have to get to know them to see who they really are. Now, if we put two last names together, which is, well, actually, when it comes to names, we cannot look at that alone. We have to go deeper, and we have to consider certain traits and characteristics. For example, if we take a look astrologically, we do have a couple of planets in water and fire in the natal chart. Now, what is interesting is we have the Sun in a really harmonious conversation to Mars in Leo. So the Sun in Sagittarius is trining it, which means that there's a lot of action and willpower, that this person has a lot of courage and a lot of assertion and is willing to push and be somebody who isn't afraid and isn't intimidated and will have the drive and will not be afraid and will be independent and wants to be in control of her own life and take the reins of the situation. That's what it can suggest, especially with Mars in Leo, is a placement that is all about having courage, and Leo is a sign of the lion. It is a sign about being very powerful. Well, it's a sign of wanting to be in control of it sort of being, you're very powerful and shining your light and all that, and there's a lot of courage and power and determination and loyalty with Leo, and particularly Mars in Leo is a fixed fire sign, so you have somebody who's very determined and focused on a goal, and the Sun trining that makes it so that our ego is aligning with what we're trying to assert. And trines are positive, but according to this person who had this experience, his relationship was not that positive. And I think another huge reason for that is because we have a signature in the natal chart, which is a personal planet in a sign of detriment. This person has, first of all, this person, Joe Mort, born on the 17th of December, 1962, has Venus in Scorpio. And this is not a light and fluffy placement by any means. This is a placement that is not about just surface level love in relationships. It really has to get real, and it really has to get deep and honest. It has to be a love that is deep, profound, transformative. It is true, it is authentic, it is at a soul level. It has to be a kind of love that is so intense. Now, there can be some power struggles with love or any kinds of relationships, because let's not make it about marriage alone. Let's make it about relationships. There's a power dynamic, and this person's very in control, and you don't want to push this person too much, otherwise, like Scorpio, stinging like the scorpion. And so what we have is somebody who is deeply attractive and deeply captivating and admirable, because Scorpio is a sign that has an allure to it, and people with Scorpio placements are very gravitational, and they draw people in, and Venus receives, and Venus draws people in with the scorpionic energy, and really is about sitting with you and not probing necessarily speaking, but getting at a deep level in relationship with you. And so often that we can't get these people off our minds, and it seems that we would either like the person or really hate that particular individual, depending upon who they are. And they're very admirable, and they're very attractive and alluring. And there could also be a dark side and a mysterious side to the kind of person that we're looking at here. So, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a very powerful person. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is about power. This person's told me that this person was in control and would make him feel uncomfortable. And with Venus in Scorpio, that's a real prevalent signature. Another little piece of interest here is that Jupiter is in Pisces. And this says something very different, or similar but different, because Pisces is the sign that rules compassion, it rules spirituality, it rules all of the fine arts of your dreams and imagination. And if you put this, now Pisces and Scorpio are in trine, but they are different energies. Pisces does not have the intensity of Scorpio, ruled by Mars, somewhere with the Sun trining Mars, and Venus in Scorpio, but Jupiter in Pisces. So there's a compassionate quality. But, I feel like doing a reading of this person that it is getting overpowered by other prevalent factors. Now, the other really important thing to note here is we do have the Moon conjunct Pluto. And Moon-Pluto conjunctions indicate emotional power. They indicate somebody who feels emotions on a very deep level. And they can express those emotions in a whole spectrum of ways, either really positively or very destructively. And Moon-Pluto people and how they use the power, they can either use it wisely or misuse it. And they may look back and regret how they used their power if they misused it. And this person probably misused her power. And the sign of Virgo can deal with critique and being very critical and very persnickety and very judgmental. And so there may be some abuse of power with Judge being very analytical and, because the moon is, first of all, how you want to nurture. And Pluto is very powerful. So you have somebody who is very powerful in a type of relationship, and it's really strongly saying that this person is the one in control. With all the factors, there is a level of control that the person possesses, which is undeniable. And other things supporting this is you have the North Node in the sign of Leo, which indicates a positively, but there's also destructive qualities and downsides to Leo. And if we're eliminating Aries, then we have Leo and Sagittarius. And North Node in Leo relates to being very shy and being very, not being afraid to stand in the spotlight and be who you want to be and express yourself. However, there is a major difference from self-expression and then destruction of others and using your power, personal power, in abusive ways. Now, I'm going to do a little chart comparison here to somebody else who has something which is not similar, but it is, well, comparable. this person who has gone off the deep end far more than the person that I'm speaking about, but she doesn't have any Moon-Pluto aspect. Other factors are going on in the natal chart. Another thing to consider here is the progressed moon. The progressed moon moves about 2.5 years, and it moves into a sign, stays there, and it indicates an emotional phase change. And let's say, for example, the progressed moon was in the sign of Leo for the next 2.5 years, and you have a horoscope like this, which really has a mixed bag. Well, this is the absolute need to be who you are, the absolute need to be in control, to be recognized, to be appreciated, to express yourself, the absolute need to have fun and play, but there is also an element here which can indicate drama, and you want to be the one who is in control, who is powerful, who will be powerful, and who is a person who finds great satisfaction at this stage of life of being someone powerful, raising your voice. Now, Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, there's an indicator of firmness. And I would argue that while the Mercury in Capricorn is very serious, there are other factors here. There's certainly Mercury in Capricorn people who are definitely not firm-like people. But there's other factors to consider, and I hope this was clear enough for you. I am Mary Sanchez, and thank you for tuning into Betty and my podcast about how to use your power not destructively, but for the greater good.